that it can go much further, where we're sharing recipes and we're sharing stories. And I'm not sure if anybody noticed, but this poster in the middle up here, this Pioneer for Peace poster, is something that is very connected to what the overall feeling of this event is as well. And the concept is kind of building community and uniting community, and I think the school is the greatest place to do that. So much comes together within this group. So I'll let Tony go first, and let her speak just very briefly, and I'll let Uber take over from there.
How are you? How is everything? Is it good? Good. So I'm going to try to be as brief as I can be. I am a food and nutrition journalist. I've been in the industry for a long, long time. And I have written a book and I have a blog that's called the Jemima Code. So those of you that are too young to know who Aunt Jemima is, you'll just think that that's the face on the package, just like we have Asian faces on Chinese food and we have Hispanic faces on salsa and Latino products. But the Aunt Jemima figure is really important because she signifies the woman and the table in our culture. And we have gotten away from that. So I want to ask you about some things that happened here that I'm going to tie back to Aunt Jemima. Did you notice the energy in the room and how much conversation was going on? People were mingling and talking to one another, and you're breaking down the barriers that we have socially, culturally, religiosity, all kinds of ways we have built up obstacles to communicating with each other. And one of the ways that organizations that I'm involved with, including the Jemima Code Project, are to use food as a mechanism to get people back at the table, back in the place of community where we care about one another and we share that over food. So I want to ask you another question. This question pertains to soul food. When you first heard about this, did you have a preconceived idea about what soul food is? Oh yeah. Did it resemble the list of foods that the young lady spoke about, or did you have another picture in your mind? Same thing. So let me tell you about soul food. Soul food is a name that connects the food of African Americans to a very specific time period. Prior to the 1960s and the Black Power movement, no one ever called the food of African Americans soul food. They called it dinner. But in that desire to claim something for ourselves that had been lost through the propaganda of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben and watermelon and all of these horrible things, images that made us feel ashamed of our foods, we tried to reclaim those foods in the 1960s. And unfortunately, what happened is people in the South, in the mainstream audience, helped us push those two things apart. So that whole list of foods that she gave that are Southern foods, the kinds of things we enjoy here today, don't just limit African Americans to 12 dishes that are primarily made with the least desirable parts of the pig, right? There was a time when that was the only connection people had to soul food. And so what you experienced here today and what we are so excited about is that adults came together and showed the kids that we can have this kind of communication. We can bring down the noise. They can too. It also shows the kids that there is a future for them in the culinary arts. There are chefs and celebrities making a bunch of money. And our children, not all of them are cut out for medical and law school. They need another direction. And what we are hoping with all of the initiatives I'm involved in is that we can get these children supported by the community so that people will understand what they do and the technology that goes into the cooking of the food that they make. There is math involved in this cooking. There is chemistry involved in what these kids are doing. And we need to believe in them and help them move forward so that culinary programs at the high school level can prepare them to be involved in culinary programs at the college level. So I encourage you to follow the Jemima Code. The book will be out next year. We're going to have lots of events around town, but the blog is there online, and you can keep up with sort of this messaging about the Jemima Code. And so now I have Luann Steele. Luann, come on, hurry up.
Quick.
Perfect.
Oh.
She's connected to the Peace Through
So
Pie
this is my
poster.
partner. It's really her idea, this Peace Through Pie movement, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with it, only to say that the women that I'm speaking about are the invisible figures behind all of what we know about the table and community and communing together. And Luann had this brilliant idea that we should break down barriers, not necessarily over full course meals, because everybody doesn't know how to cook everything anymore. But anybody can bake a pie. So let her tell you quickly about how Pioneers for Peace works, and you can become one of those and support us and the True Code, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
The elevator speech.
Quick, okay, oh, right, okay. So the idea behind Peace Through Pie is what Tony just said. But really, that we can, as a community, see that the world is a pie and each of us is a piece, so that really to value every contribution of everybody and see our diversity as a strength. So we're using the pie as a metaphor, you know, a symbol for coming together, for unity, and for really realizing that all these different traditions that are being represented, and a lot of them have not been represented, right? The voices have not been heard. We're trying to say that that's the strength. So that's the pie. So when we have the pie socials, we had one here
A month ago.
And we had one 2 weekends ago at Hoover's with community organizers from around the country, and we had one, Tony had, anyway, around town. So anybody can have one, and that is the idea, that we don't have to wait for someone else to say, you know, come to the table. We can step up to the plate and become pioneers. And I think that way we take the lead, and you know, we get to hear from everybody. And I just can't help but say, you know, from the people that I've been meeting and all those wonderful culinary students and the people who don't get to come out, people don't get to see them as much, to come out from behind the kitchen, and you know, and get everybody get to meet who they are. I think it's a wonderful strength, and I just applaud anything we can do to bring that out and to give more resources so everybody can enjoy the richness.
And I'll be real brief because I know we want to stay on schedule, but I really salute and add on to what Tony said. And she really is a brilliant woman, does some really great things. A couple of groups that we belong to, and I first met her, it was a food group called Southern Foodways Alliance. And she is a former president of that group. She's a current president of another group that we founded a few years ago called Foodways Texas. And we do a similar thing, and she talked about the things involved in the food that we know that we enjoy. You know, there's math, there's chemistry, but a big thing that I've got a renewed appreciation for working with these organizations, getting to know people like Tony, is also there's lessons about history, about culture. And so we can have a good time and enjoy the food and break the bread together. There's so many lessons to be learned, and there's all these culinary programs, you know, that are culinary schools popping up. There's one course at ACC, other programs around the state, University of Houston, etc. I was so excited when I first found out that folk are reaching down to like high school level. And as Tony said, one size doesn't fit all. There's some incredible talent in all of our schools that are underutilized because we try to get them to fit into one career path. There's some wonderful things to be had in our chosen path as far as restaurant business, as far as culinary business, and I so look forward to seeing continued nurturing of the talent that you guys have amongst y'all. It really does add other dimensions to the food we take for granted, we taste and enjoy, because again, there's just so many barriers to be broken down, racially, economically, culturally. It's an incredible benefits. I really salute what you guys are doing here at Manor, and really want to be encouraging any way I can, and Rob knows that. So salute to what you guys have done today, and I look forward to seeing you guys kind of stepping y'all's game up, you know, after what y'all have set up a nice jump start here, so I look forward to seeing where y'all leap forward from here. So thank y'all.
Do we have more raffle tickets that are?
We have about four more.
I'm gonna grab the winners because we have them identified, and then that will be coming very shortly.